Hey, what's up guys? Hope you're all doing well, and this is the Lazer 3D LZ7. It's an ultra compact ITX case which is constructed from laser cut acrylic and 3D printed parts, and at just 7.1 liters in total volume, it's the smallest case that I've reviewed here on the channel, just barely smaller than the Den A4. So today we're going to take a look at build quality, hardware compatibility, CPU cooling, and where this case fits among other small form factor cases. So let's cover build quality first, since that's a big topic of discussion for a DIY acrylic case. And yes, DIY, you'll need to assemble the case yourself, but I am happy to report that the construction was super simple just by following the included user manual. And from opening the box to putting the last screw in, I was able to assemble the case in just a little over 30 minutes. And I probably don't need to explain the benefits of making a gaming PC this compact at this point. Generally, airflow and system thermals are sufficient. It's going to look more practical and clean on your desk, and it's also perfect for lounge room gaming as a console alternative. You've got two main parts that make up the construction, the laser cut acrylic panels and the 3D printed edges, and you'd be quick to assume that this would mean a poor build quality, but you'd be absolutely wrong. For an acrylic case, the build quality really surprised me. The panels that they're using are very thick and strong with a bit of weight to them and with very minimal flex. The 3D printed edges are also pretty exceptional. There's no visible layers and everything is done very precisely. And this is because they're printed in very expensive SLS printers, but we'll talk more about that later. With the case fully constructed, everything feels nice and rigid, tolerances are pretty solid. And again, for a DIY laser cut case, I'm pretty impressed by the construction here. I also really appreciate the acrylic panels that they're using that are not semi-transparent glossy panels that attract dust and fingerprints like absolute magnets. These are matte black and retain that clean look over time. So the front of the case is actually completely blank apart from some cutouts towards the left for your GPU, and I/O and power button can be accessed from the right of the case. You can also choose to go with a full I/O with USB 3.0 ports and audio jacks, or you can go with a clean Vandal switch for power, which I much prefer. There's also a fan slot on the right side panel too. A slim 120 or 140mm fan will fit, but full-size fans are a no-go. Now, one of the big benefits for using laser cut acrylic for the manufacturing process here is that there's no tooling at all needed to construct this case, which is awesome. That means that the cost to actually make the case is a lot lower compared to CNC'd and steel cases, and it also means that making iterations of the case is extremely easy. It also opens up a ton of customization options for the consumer. Choosing different style vents and colors can be done through the configurator on their site, and I appreciate the different options for airflow and optional dust filters too. Now, one of the strong points of the Lazer 3D LZ7 is the CPU cooler height, which tops out at 70mm. Now, given that this case is just 7 liters in total volume, that's a pretty good, sort of CPU cooler height to total volume sort of ratio, if you will. Now, the reason that they're able to do this is that they haven't adopted a back-to-back layout or a slim console layout like a lot of the small form factor cases like the Node 202, the Den A4, and even the Ghost S1. But traditionally, you do reduce the footprint quite a lot with those cases, which is good, but then you have the CPU cooler height, which is usually like 50mm, and that's just not enough these days when people are putting i7s and Ryzen 5 and Ryzen 7s in their system. I am happy to report that CPU cooling in this case is actually pretty strong for the total volume. Now, another reason that the LZ7 is able to be more compact than a case like the Den A4 yet have a taller CPU cooler clearance is because of the restriction of a mini GPU. So full-length cards won't fit here, and you're limited to a 2-slot card with a length of 186mm. You've still got some very powerful options there though, with Gigabyte and MSI offering ITX versions of the RTX 2070, and Gigabyte's ITX model of the GTX 1080 is also a pretty popular and powerful option. Two 2.5-inch drives can be mounted on this small panel which slots in against the front part of the case. This seems pretty sufficient for a gaming case in my opinion, and you can swap the SFX power supply for an AC to DC HD plex unit, and this will free up more space inside the case. And so the finished build with the LZ7 is pretty dense and compact, just the way it should be in my opinion. And even when using the stock SFX power supply cables, cable management isn't too bad. Of course, with the SFX power supply blocking the top of the CPU cooler, I was pretty interested to see how this would affect CPU thermals. Keep in mind that I've also got the 120mm slim Noctua fan as a side intake, pretty much blowing directly on that heatsink, and this helped thermals a lot, especially when running just the i5. And for testing, I've decided to go with the Noctua NH-L12. I would have gone with the L12S, which tops out at 17mm and is the biggest cooler that you can fit in the LZ7, but I was borrowing the slim fan from that cooler as a side intake. So with the i5-8400 in there underneath the Noctua NH-L12, we're seeing the CPU average out to 56.2 degrees C across all 6 cores after 15 minutes rendering out a scene in Blender. So if you were using the i5-8400 for gaming in this case, you'd easily see temps in the 40s and 50s. For reference, it's performing a bit cooler than the Dan A4 when I paired that case with the Cryorig C7 copper, but at 2500 RPM that configuration was much louder. With an acoustically even comparison, you can get the LZ7 running much cooler for an air-cooled system. When paired with a delitted 8700K at 1.2 volts running at auto, the LZ7 can keep up with the more powerful air-cooled SFF cases in the stack. When comparing the same cooler in the Ghost S1, the LZ7 is running a little over 4 degrees warmer, and that's likely due to the SFX power supply preventing the hot air from being exhausted from the case. So a delitted 8700K in the LZ7 is definitely doable. So the LZ7 has a very strong cooling performance per liter of total volume, the build quality is exceptional, and the boxy design looks great for a lounge room or minimal desk setup. The problem is the current price. See, you'd think that seeing that this is a DIY acrylic and 3D printed case, that the price would be quite affordable, but unfortunately that is what's holding this case back in my opinion. With the base configuration, you're sitting at 148 Great British pounds, which equates to just under $190 US at the time of filming. At that price, it really is competing with the Dan A4 SFX, which is practically equal in volume at 7.2 liters, can fit a full-length GPU, and has an aluminium construction. There's also no riser cable in the LZ7, which would otherwise ramp the price up another $30 or so. And so I approached Lazer 3D regarding the price because I can already hear the comments down below, and those are, well warranted because this case should not be $190 US. And they basically said that the price is where it is because of the 3D printed edges. The edges that line the acrylic panels, if you're not following me. So these 3D printed parts are outsourced, which already drives the price up. And then to make matters worse, they're printed on SLS machines, which, creates a really good quality 3D print. I mean, they're pretty much flawless, no layers, no imperfections, but the price, you're gonna pay for that quality. And that's the big issue with this case. They are saying that they're going to make them out of a different material. I'm not sure if that's going to be metal or plastic moving forward, but they said we can expect a price drop in 2019 with a new material. So fingers crossed for that, because in my opinion, this case really should be competing with those Geek cases, since these both of those cases are DIY acrylic cases. Now it still makes sense for the LZ7 to be priced higher than those Geek cases, seeing as those cases just use aluminium extrusions and thin acrylic. But if the price was closer to say $120 to $140 US, the LZ7 would be a very popular option. Also consider the Silverstone SG13, which is a slightly scaled up version of the LZ7, allowing a full-length GPU, and that case is going for a little under $60 US. At the moment, the LZ7 is a relatively expensive kit with a ton of potential, and the case design in itself I'm a big fan of though. I really like the main construction of the case, which is those thick matte black acrylic panels, and the CPU cooling performance per liter of volume is right up there with cases like the Ghost S1. So I have no problems at all with the case. I think it's an excellent design, and I am really excited for this acrylic approach because it is the first time that I've seen, an acrylic case and actually liked it. I am a bit of a snob for build quality, and this one does it quite well. The problem is the price, and that's why I can't honestly recommend it to you guys. Pretty much for the same price, you can get a Dan A4, and the build quality and layout there and compatibility is a bit better. If, however, you do like the DIY kit approach and you want that building experience, or perhaps you like the customization options that the LZ7 offers. I'll leave a link down below for you guys to check it out. Otherwise, guys, I'd love to know your thoughts on the LZ7, and all in all, it's an excellent case. It's just competing in the wrong price bracket, in my opinion. As always, guys, a huge thanks for watching. Consider subscribing down below if you haven't already, and I'll see you all in the next one.